Welcome. I'm Jordan, and you're watching episode 1 in a series I'm going to call I Hate Cycling, but I'll Try It.
When I was 18, I went for a trip to Holland. While there, I was mesmerized by their obsession with cycling. I saw parking lots designed specifically for bikes, and their road network showed supporting paths to keep cyclists away from the cars. As a car driver, I love that idea. Get the bikes off the road. Let me zoom down the road without making it a game of hopscotching around them. When I moved from London, Ontario to the city of Kitchener, I noticed a lot more cyclists than I'm used to. Here, you can see the old style of bike paths, a small strip of paint and a little symbol of hope, basically telling a cyclist, good luck. I sat down with my counselor and told him my interest in getting cyclists off the road and developing a network for them away from the cars. He let me know they're working on it. About a year after that meeting, this road nearby my house was rebuilt, and look! Like a panicked squirrel nosediving to safety, the path veers away from the cars and up where the air is cleaner, and us drivers in North America can pretend for a little while longer that exercising isn't a thing.
So it's raining during my first YouTube video. Going well already. Well, speaking of distractions, I got distracted from my running. I'm not as fast as I was in 2011, and I'm looking to get back to there. Cycling is very different from running. With running, I'm in control. If I want to leap over a puddle, I can. I just take a running start and I go jump over it. But when cycling, I can be bogged down. I can't go off the path. I can't go venture into the woods and satisfy my curiosity. So I'm getting back into shape, and these videos are going to motivate me. I'm doing it because I want to go on a bit of a journey, sometimes by car and sometimes by bike. At this moment, I can only handle about 5 kilometers in running, and I'm very uncomfortable when I have to cycle long distances. I'll include as much of my training on video as I can, but it's not always easy to record while out for a run.
Yep. Oh, that's a good time. At just over 3 miles, my 5-kilometer fast runs serve as a good way of benchmarking my fitness early on in this training. So, what am I training for? Here's a rough idea of the plan. 2 years ago, I took a 1-week vacation to Holbox, Mexico for about $1,900 all in. I want to see if I can do more for less while touring Canada's eastern provinces. Along the way, I'll work to overcome the language barriers between French and the English. Maybe I'll learn a little bit of French. I'll dip my toes a little bit into America, and I'll even visit a territory of France. I'll set more specific athletic goals in these videos as things evolve, but don't worry, there is no way I'm cycling the whole thing. If you have any suggestions on places I should see along this route, please write them in the comments. I want to know. Now let's see what I'm working with. Sometimes we hit barriers in life. Some are just so big you can't ask for help. You have to push on using what you have. In the gloomy confines of this shed rests an old machine with more soul than a retired couple on salsa night. This is my bike. I picked it up a few years ago from a charity in my city that helps those unemployed or in poverty find work. Including a small tip, I paid $25 for this bike. It's one of those cases where the bike lock is worth more than the bike itself.
It's been sitting a few years with more than a few rust spots. There's no air in the tires, even to the point where it's riding on the rims. The brakes are of the ultra rare one-armed limited edition. But, you know what? Yeah, this will do.
A few days later, still not knowing where the key is for that bike lock, I found an air pump which finds power through a car outlet. Good start. I got to work pumping those tires and building a workout routine around my work week. But I had to go to work later that day, so I couldn't give it a shot. The next day, I'm back out there ready to go. But the bike needed air again. I've got my helmet on, a pair of good sneakers, a bag of emergency snacks for when my laziness kicks in, but the bike needed a little bit of attention. So I got back to work, and using the always accurate squeezy method, it felt ready to go.
Here's a route I'm cycling, totaling just over 13 miles. Sometimes I had to take control of an intersection, much like a car. Except a car would have been safer. Other times, I got to jump up onto the sidewalk and use what appears to be a future bike path. But that didn't last long. Overall, I've learned drivers out here are very generous in giving cyclists their space, which is great, since a law came into effect this year forcing motorists to give cyclists at least 3.5 feet when passing. Often, I see vehicles putting oncoming traffic under a tighter squeeze than me. By having cyclists on the road, we're literally increasing the risk of vehicle collisions. A few things I've learned in this journey so far. First, my mountain bike is heavier and much slower than a road bike. From its chunky tires to the overall weight of a mountain bike, it might be worth seeing if I can pick up a cheap touring bike before winter hits. The first thing I learned in using this GoPro was how short the battery life is. This is just a normal thing, to only get 1 hour of video recording. I mean, for snowboarders and kite surfers, that's a good stretch of time. For me, on this adventure, cycling most hours of a day, I'll have to get choosy on what I actually record and maybe buy a bunch of batteries as a backup. If it sounds like I'm intentionally being vague on the details, you're not wrong. I'm hoping to work with a charity for a good piece of this trip. And those details are still being worked out, so stay tuned. I've been working at this for a month, and I'm nicely piling on the miles in training. If anyone has a tip on how to turn off that time display in the corner, I'd appreciate it. My running has improved to 7 miles uninterrupted, and my 5-kilometer fast runs have dropped to under 26 minutes. Which brings us to my goals for the next video. Goal number 1. Increase my mileage in cycling. At least get me up to 50 miles in a day. I have a newborn nephew named Mason, and conveniently he and his family live about 50 miles from my house. Maybe there's a trip in store there. Goal number 2, find a little bit better filming locations. Bring something visually appealing to the audience. The end goal is that I keep my costs as low as possible through this training and the subsequent trip, so I'm gonna use these videos as a ledger tracking any costs. Here's where we stand as of today. I purchased a few LED lights in order to save myself from wearing reflective tape all over my body. My aim is to inform drivers I'm there, not alarm them. I also cheated a little bit, and I drove to the library on a few occasions to use their video editing software. Finally, I bought this GoPro used off of Amazon, so I'm out $60 there. And that is it for expenses to this point. I'll keep you posted on how things go. Thank you for watching. I'll be back again in a few weeks with another video just to keep you up to speed on how the training's going. If you want to stay tuned, you're welcome to hit that subscribe button, and I'll be around.